Hey guys, it's Baby Name Monday. Thanks for coming along. My name's SJ. If you are new and don't know what I'm talking about, basically every single Monday I do a brand new baby name vlog here on YouTube. So do hit subscribe to follow along and share with a pregnant friend of yours. You don't have to be pregnant or naming a baby. I'm not. I just absolutely love creating baby name lists. You might guess what this one is about from my getup. Very fancy. But today I am doing vintage baby names. This was always what I put into Google when I was pregnant. These are very rare vintage baby names that haven't yet kind of come back into fashion. So you would be quite daring to use some of them, but I think that you should. They are due a revival and I will let you know the cultural reasons why. Go boy, girl, 5 girl names and 5 boy names. So at number 5 for vintage names is a girl name that I've got so much love for, and that is the name Alma. Have you met a little baby Alma? I think it is such a cute name and it's got tons of gorgeous meanings. So in Persian it actually means apple, in Celtic it means good, in Swedish it means loving, which is so lovely, my husband's Swedish, and in Spanish it means soul. So it's still really popular in Spain, but everywhere else it has really died out. It was most popular in the UK back in 1854 when Britain and France went to war with Russia, and there was a famous battle fought at the River Alma in the Ukraine, and we were victorious, and it became a hugely popular name to call baby girls back then. I love it because it just sounds really short and sweet, and with names like kind of Isla or even Mia that are so popular now, Alma is just a little bit off the beaten track way of getting a name like that. It has gone up in the last 10 years from position 2096 to number 529 in the UK this year. So it's nowhere near that top 100, still totally unique, really vintage and really pretty. I absolutely love the baby boy names on this list, and I really hope you do as well, because at number 5 is a name I think we all really love but has kind of fallen out of fashion, which is the name Ernest. It is such a cute name. It is so old-fashioned and it means serious, and obviously it's got that kind of Puritan meaning if you spelt it with the A in it, as in being earnest. I always think of it from the Oscar Wilde play, The Importance of Being Earnest, which makes me sound very literary, but I remember studying that play at school and it's a really funny character. So it's super cool to have that kind of Oscar Wilde reference to it. But it sounds modern again to me. I don't know, I just really love it. And it's now at number 320 in the UK, so it's not as rare as we might think, but it is in danger of being an extinct name, so let's bring it back. And number 4 for girls is the name Nora. Nora is so pretty and it is so overlooked. It kind of became like a kind of Nora Batty character, an old lady battle axe for a while, but if you envisage it now on a really little girl, it sounds very modern and very cute. I really like it, and it's unusual as well. I think it's pretty with the H at the end if you want to kind of freshen it up as well. I absolutely love Nora Jones, the singer, and she's kind of helping to make this sound very modern again. And there's a character called Nora in Pete's Dragon. Did you see Pete's Dragon? It's kind of had its, again, that's had a revival, so maybe the name is going to revive as well. It was originally a short name for something like Eleanor, and then Nora became a name all of its own and was very popular years ago. I think it should come back. I think it is so gorgeous. I think it is so unique. Let me know what you think in the comments below. At number 4 is a boy's name that when I say it, you'll probably be like, what is she on about? But that is the name Bernhard. Bernhard actually means strong like a bear. Isn't that cool? Like everyone's calling their babies Bear now. This has got such a cool fierce animal meaning. The history is amazing as well. Did you know that Bernhard is actually the patron saint of the Alps and skiers? So if you love skiing or your husband loves skiing, it's a great way to kind of get this in there. So there was a saint called Bernhard. You know where I'm going. But he was a man, not a dog, and he was in charge of a monastery which was up in the Alps. And when people were doing a pilgrimage to Rome, they often stopped at St. Bernard's monastery to seek sort of some solace and to rest from their journey. And it was a very tough pilgrimage, so they did have these St. Bernard dogs who were very good rescue dogs, and that very famous thing of them having like the whiskey around their neck. So Bernard has kind of gone out of fashion because I think it is really associated with that type of dog, even though it means bear. There were 14 babies called Bernhard in 2012, and it is on the up. So there were actually 31 babies called Bernhard in 2016. So people are starting to use it again. Bernie is a very cute nickname, of course, and it's just got into the top 1,000 at number 946. So go for it if you want to have a really retro vintage name that is not quite on the up just yet and be really unique. At number 3 is another name that I think you'll be like, oh, I've never thought of using that, and that is the name Mavis. Maybe it seems so old-fashioned, but if you sort of literally forget all your associations with it and you hear it afresh, it's very modern sounding. It's got the V, which is really, really popular, and it's pretty. It's a really soft name. It's actually a nature name as well, because a song thrush bird is also known as a mavis. So it's got that lovely kind of bird association to it, and it is super ripe for revival because of popular culture. The main character in Hotel Transylvania, the little girl, is called Mavis. So it will be one that is kind of capturing our hearts again and getting back onto our radar. And actually her dad, Dracula, nicknames her Mavie, which is actually really cute as well. I think this sounds so cute. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below, or if you know a little Mavis. There were 3 babies called Mavis in 2012 and 11 in 2016, so it is slowly coming up through the ranks. I think it should be higher. What do you think? Next up is a name I swear you might never have heard of. Maybe if you're watching this in America you will have heard of, because it's a vintage American baby boy name, and that is the name Grover. So Stephen Grover was actually a president of the United States, and that name got really popular during that time. So in 1884 he became president of the United States, and the name skyrocketed to number 20 over there, and it actually means awe-inspiring. So what a cool name. I think names like Grayson and things like that are so popular, and Grover just sounds really modern again. So you may be thinking, all I know about Grover is that it's a Muppet name. And you'd be right, there is Blue Grover the Muppet. The thing was, in the 1970s, when they chose the name of all the Muppets, they were actually choosing popular elder names back then, so kind of grandparents' names. So I got some stats. So Grover in 1910 ranked at number 221, Kermit was at number 193, and Elmo was a very respectable name at number 263. So while they sound like Muppets to us, the Muppets were actually named after grandparent names at the time. I think that's a really cool fact, and it makes Grover really retro, and who doesn't love the Muppets? I'd like to be called after a Muppet. And in the Percy Jackson series, so this is kind of like a tween thing. There's a book and a movie. There's a character called Grover in that. So it's kind of there. It's out in popular culture. I just love the sound of it. I think it is really trendy sounding. Let me know what you think. And it doesn't rank. It's not in the top 1,000. Next up for girls is a name I really, really love, and has got a really surprising baby name meaning, which I think will make you fall in love with it as well. And that is the baby name Doris. So Doris, again, is a proper old-fashioned name. So originally, where we see Doris coming up as a name in history is very old, and it goes right back to the Titans. Doris was actually a nymph, and a nymph is a very beautiful creature who lives in the land or the water. She was a water nymph, and she was one of the daughters of Oceanus, I think I'm pronouncing that right, who was the Lord of the Sea. So it's got a really gorgeous, I love that type of era. I reckon that's going to be the next big movie thing, isn't it? It's going to be going right back to the Titans and all those myths. She was actually also the mother of 50 nymphs herself. So she was very, very famous, and she was called Doris. How cool is that? And then what happened was, because of that myth, Doris became the name of lots of ships around the time, and then it became chosen for baby girl. So by the 1920s, Doris was one of the most popular names going. It was one you would hear absolutely everywhere. So it was in the top 10 from 1924 through to 1933. We associate it, as I've already said, with the film stuff from the 50s, Doris Day, who I absolutely love. I grew up watching those Doris Day movies like Calamity Jane and all of her singing. I even bought her quite recent album. I would love to be a Doris Day like tribute act or something, so I think that is a really cool person to be named after as well. It is not coming up yet, so you can get in there early. Over the last 10 years it has gone from number 3,785 to number 2,547 in 2016. So it's nowhere near the top 1,000 yet, but I think it should be. I think we should bring it back. Let me know what you think. And for boys, an amazing name with tons of cool reasons why it's ready for revival is the name Wilbur. And it means wild boar, which makes sense when you think Wilbur. Wilbur was actually the name of one of the Wright brothers, so one of the first people to invent flying. I think that makes it such an adventurous and trendy name. I just really like it, and Will as a nickname is obviously really commonplace, but you would always know that he's your little Wilbur. What do you think of it? Seriously, do you like it? I know there is a little pig called Wilbur in Charlotte's Web, which was a really popular thing when we were growing up, so maybe you've got an association with that. I don't really care about associations. I think it's nice to know them, but I think as soon as you call your baby something, that just becomes its name and people forget all other associations they had with it. So do go for it if you really like the name. More recently, there was a Disney Pixar movie called Meet the Robinsons. The main little star in that is a little boy called Wilbur. So it could be because of that we'll start to see it coming through the ranks again. It's not too far down the list. It's at number 571 and it was at 0 10 years ago. So it is coming back up there. What do you think of it? And at number 1 for girls is a name I fell in love with a couple of years ago, which is the name Agnes. I think this is so pretty. It is just, I heard it on Mr. Selfridge, that TV show. Did you watch that? The character Agnes, and I just really loved her character, loved that show and loved the name since then. Agnes actually means pure or holy, and that is after Saint Agnes, who is apparently a very beautiful woman who turned down lots of suitors and decided to live a life devout to prayer, and became kind of, that was very daring and frowned upon at the time, to turn down marriage and men. And since then she has become the patron saint for little girls. So there's a cute little folklore that on the eve of Saint's Day, young girls would pray to St. Agnes to discover their husband soon. John Keats has a line about her, "Bonnie Agnes, let me see the lad who is to marry me." So I think that's quite sweet. Did you know that actually Mother Teresa's name was Agnes? So that's a really beautiful person to name your baby after. And Jennifer Connelly, who's one of my favourite actresses, she's got a little girl called Agnes Lark. Oh, that's like the most dream name in the world. I really like this name. I think it is so pretty. It has gone up to number 361 in the UK at the moment, so it's not as high as like Mabel and all of those ones, but I think it's in the same kind of category and it's not as unusual as it used to be, or as shocking of a choice. Let me know what you think. And last up for boys is another one that you'll probably be like, I've never thought of that. And that is the name Basil. So Basil is such an old-fashioned name that we just don't hear. It's particularly popular in Greece, where there is another St. Basil. There's so many saints around where these names come from. And Basil, the nickname is Bas, which is really cute. St. Basil was known for his work with the poor and underprivileged. So as well as being a kind of nature name and the herb basil that we associate with a lot of Italian cooking, it's got a lovely strong Greek manly meaning, which is king. So it's a strange one, isn't it? I just think it is super cute and definitely ready for a revival. All of those nature names for girls and botanical names and even food names are all having a massive resurgence. So let's get behind Basil, bring it back. Honestly, if I met a little baby called Basil, I would be so jealous. I think it is super cute. And it's going up very slowly. It is now at number 1,498 in the UK. So I would get in there quick. I think it's going to keep going up. And thanks so much for watching. I love to hear from you. Do share with a friend who you think might enjoy it. I would love to have as many of us here as possible, and hit subscribe to follow along. Next Monday I've got another super exciting baby name list for you. I can't wait for you to see it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.